Ronnie adjusted his gloves, his breath misting in the frigid air as he surveyed the vast snow-covered peaks of the Tibetan mountains. This was unlike any location he had ever filmed before. A professional drone pilot with over a decade of experience, Ronnie had traveled to extreme environments, but nothing could prepare him for the challenges of this assignment. Yet the promise of an astronomical paycheck had convinced him to accept the job. A solo trip to capture pristine footage for a wildlife documentary. The climb was brutal, even with the help of 2 Sherpa guides he had managed to hire after days of negotiation. The locals were wary of outsiders, and Ronnie had to earn their trust before they agreed to lead him into the treacherous terrain. Supplies were limited, the winds were relentless, and the temperatures were unforgiving. Still, Ronnie persevered, driven by the promise of breathtaking shots that could define his career. After days of trekking, they reached the designated filming location. Ronnie set up his drone, meticulously checking its systems to ensure it could handle the extreme conditions. The Sherpas, intrigued by the sophisticated equipment, watched as Ronnie launched the drone into the sky. The sleek device soared above the peaks, capturing sweeping vistas of snow-covered cliffs and glacial valleys. Ronnie monitored the footage on his screen, marveling at the stark beauty of the landscape. The weather cleared, granting him the perfect opportunity to capture more complex shots. The drone swooped along rocky ridges, gliding past cascading snow and catching glimpses of elusive mountain goats. The footage was stunning, but Ronnie knew he needed one final grand shot to complete his mission, a panoramic view of the mountain range that showcased its majestic scale. As the drone ascended for its final flight, something unusual appeared on the monitor. At first, Ronnie dismissed it as a trick of the light, but as the drone flew closer, he realized what he was seeing was real. Nestled in the craters of 2 mountaintops were enormous glass domes, their surfaces shimmering under the sunlight. Ronnie's heart raced. What were these structures doing in such a remote and forbidden area? He adjusted the drone's camera to zoom in, trying to make sense of the scene. Inside one of the domes, he glimpsed what looked like fields of soil and vegetation, a stark contrast to the barren, icy surroundings. The drone's battery warning beeped, pulling Ronnie out of his daze. He hesitated, torn between flying closer to investigate or returning the drone before it lost power completely. Reluctantly, he guided it back to his position, just managing to land it as the battery drained to its last percentage. Ronnie showed the footage to his Sherpa guides, hoping they could shed light on the mysterious domes. To his surprise, they were just as baffled as he was. One of them, however, warned him against pursuing the matter further. "This is forbidden territory," the guide said firmly. "No good can come from going there." But Ronnie's curiosity had been ignited. He couldn't let it go. Despite the guide's protests, he decided to venture into the restricted zone. After much convincing, one of the Sherpas reluctantly agreed to accompany him, while the other refused and returned to the base camp. The journey into the forbidden area was arduous. The path was unmarked and cloaked in an eerie silence, broken only by the crunch of their boots in the snow. A simple sign marked the border: "No trespassing, punishable by law." But Ronnie was undeterred. He had come too far to turn back now. After hours of climbing, they reached the smaller of the 2 domes. Up close, its massive scale was even more imposing. Ronnie brushed away the snow from the glass, revealing the rich, dark soil within. It was a bizarre sight, completely at odds with the desolate surroundings. As they circled the structure, the Sherpa discovered a hatch buried under the snow. It was locked and featured a scanner that appeared to be non-functional, its power source long dead. An idea struck Ronnie. He retrieved a battery pack from his drone equipment and connected it to the scanner. To his astonishment, the device powered on, and the scanner's light flickered to life. Tentatively, Ronnie placed his face before it. A beep sounded, followed by a click as the hatch unlocked. He and the Sherpa exchanged a wary glance before opening the door. Inside was a narrow tunnel, dimly lit by emergency lights. They followed it to a second door, which slid open with a hiss, revealing a massive underground complex. Ronnie's breath caught as he took in the sight. Beneath the dome was a temperature-controlled environment, complete with storage rooms filled with supplies, living quarters, and a vast field of crops growing under artificial light. The facility was eerily quiet, its systems humming faintly. The implications hit Ronnie like a freight train. This wasn't just a research station or a weather outpost, it was something far more significant. A sign on one of the walls, written in multiple languages, confirmed his suspicions. This was a doomsday bunker designed to house a select group of people, government officials, celebrities, and the ultra-wealthy, in the event of a global catastrophe. The realization was both fascinating and disheartening. While the outside world remained vulnerable to natural disasters, pandemics, and other crises, this hidden sanctuary promised survival to an elite few. The secrecy surrounding its existence was no accident. Ronnie explored further, capturing details with his camera. His Sherpa guide, initially hesitant, became equally absorbed in the discovery. They moved cautiously, aware that any misstep could alert whoever maintained the facility, assuming it was still operational. After hours of exploration, they decided it was time to leave. They retraced their steps, ensuring they left no trace of their presence. Ronnie powered down the scanner and replaced the snow over the hatch, concealing the entrance once more. As they descended the mountain, the weight of their discovery hung heavily on them. Back at the base camp, Ronnie reviewed the footage on his laptop. The evidence was undeniable, but so was the risk of exposing it. Sharing the discovery could have severe consequences, not just for him, but for anyone involved. The powerful entities behind such a project would go to great lengths to protect their secret. In the end, Ronnie made a difficult decision. He deleted the footage of the domes, preserving only the wildlife and landscape shots for the documentary. The Sherpa, who had shared in the discovery, agreed to keep silent. They parted ways, each burdened by the knowledge of what lay hidden in the mountains. As Ronnie returned to civilization, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had glimpsed something monumental, a truth about humanity's priorities and inequalities. Though he resolved to put the experience behind him, the memory of the glass domes and the world they represented would stay with him forever. A secret too dangerous to reveal and too significant to forget.